Sweet. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming out tonight. Sorry if my voice sounds super weird. I'm also like watching myself. It's like Inception. I'm watching myself on YouTube live, like 2 seconds behind. It's really awkward. Cameron and I were messing around with the Inception audio loop, where you would just say like a word and it would just keep looping forever because it would keep picking it up, but in smaller increments. It's really fun. Anyway, I'm rambling now. But thanks for coming, guys, all the way to Middleburg. I'm sorry for... Yeah, what's up, John? It's good to see you, man. So good to see you, buddy. Oh, this is so cool. Guys, we're so technologically savvy now. This is so amazing. Hi to everybody who's watching this on the interwebs. We're so glad to see you. So thanks for coming out to Middleburg, and sorry for it not being in Brunswick. It was kind of a rough situation for us. Some things kind of happened where it was like, okay, some different things are being scheduled on Thursdays like we had normally planned. So if you saw that really awkward, weird video that Nate and I did yesterday, did you guys like that? Yeah, fun, right? No, not at all. No, he wasn't. He was totally just being a dingus, and it was awesome. A ton of fun. Yeah. Rule number one. So check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. It is, it's hilarious, and we had a lot of fun, but it was totally a serious announcement. And so from now on, the plan is that we're going to meet here first week of the month, the first Tuesday of every month, to do foundations. Just because, again, Thursdays, it wasn't possible to meet in Brunswick. Brunswick is kind of packed out right now with events and different things like that. Dude, what? Look at this guy, David. So good to see you, man. Come on over. And so, again, team nights are going to be third Tuesday of every month. That's the plan. And that's at Brunswick. Times are a little different. So foundations are going to be at 7 p.m. What's up, man? Good to see you. What's up, Vern? And then team nights are going to be at 6:30, just because we're going to have more time to kind of hang out and eat and do all that stuff. Because we want to eat and worship at team night and really spend time together, spend some quality time. What's up, y'all? So good to see you. Man, you guys are great. Love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Love you. Yeah. David's my favorite student in the world. So did anybody? So everybody got the sort of the email that I sent out. You know, the one from Mailchimp. If you know what that is, kind of this. No, it's not Evite. So Evite's for like team night for like the foundation's email. Has like a video and different things like that. Like you know the time you didn't. Okay, so Taylor, please remind me afterwards. I want to make sure that I'm pretty sure your email is in it, but I want to make sure that everybody is on the list and that they're getting the updates and the emails and all that stuff. Okay, I want to make sure that that is good. I'm gonna leave a little bit of time. I think some people are still coming in. So we're talking about practice, prep, and rehearsal tonight. I promise this is gonna be fun. It's not gonna be boring. The only way it's gonna be boring is if I'm boring, which pretty pretty rough. So far, this guy's a loser. But also, we were able to stream this, so it will be on the Facebook worship group page for review if you'd like to, you know, access that and do that. Okay?
Oh, you get a little high, the mid high ring.
Do I have a little ring there? Guys, listen. Dude, that's awesome. No, listen, guys, you guys are amazing. Excellence is important. Sorry for that. I'm gonna EQ my own voice while I'm up here. So, funny thing is, I don't have Steve's EQ. Check, 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 check. Thanks for your patience. Check, check, check. Oh, there it is. Holy Spirit, we love you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Is that better? A little bit better, yeah. Awesome, cool. That's the bad part of my voice. Yeah, I have a weird low mid thing. So I have a weird low mid thing. So yeah. So hey, with my low mids, man, it's kind of crazy stuff like that. So did you? Let me ask you a question. Did you guys enjoy the last one talking about the natural number system? I know that was so much music theory, but was it? Did it help? Was it good? Cool, 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 cool. Hey, Christina, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming. So yeah, if you guys need to access that, let me know. If you need any of those like materials and stuff again, please let me know. And feel free to like share it with people. My hope is that as we continue to do these, because I was telling Joseph earlier, like we had like 14 come to the first one, and then like 32 people watched it. So I was like, what? This is crazy. You know what I mean? So people still want to be a part of it. And then some of people, like I think Mike and Rhonda were sharing it with other churches, like her dad's church, and their worship teams were watching it. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I would like to see it in the future, like if we can, and this gets really good. I'd love to be able to help out other churches and resource them. Because you don't get stuff like this too often in church. You don't get like worship you kind of materials. You know what I mean? My hope is that I'm giving you like the people that would come and do these it's going to be like a worship you type thing where you're going to get like a lot of stuff that's really going to be practical and helpful to what we're doing. Okay? Cool. Let's get started. Tonight we're talking about practice, prep, and rehearsal. And so I want to talk to you guys about what I call the 5-minute principle. Okay? And so the 5-minute principle is this. You can do anything for 5 minutes. In your mind, you can do anything for 5 minutes, right? So most of the time, I think in life, when we're trying to accomplish something like I want to go work out more, or I want to practice singing more, or you just want to get better, you want to develop a discipline, we get overwhelmed by the hypothetical reality of how much time it's going to take, right? Because in your mind, you're already building in like, oh man, it's going to take like an hour. I don't have an hour. You know what I mean? Most of the time, we're like, I don't have an hour. I'm stressed out, and then before we know, we're not actually doing it. But I think all of us here can give 5 minutes to do anything, right? So the Lord taught me this like 2 years ago when I was like trying to develop spiritual disciplines, and I was like, Lord, I want to read the Word more, and I want to get into just spending time with you more. But I keep getting like paralyzed by the reality of time and not knowing like where to go, what to do, and how to do. You know what I mean? It was just like I was getting so paralyzed, and the Lord was like, would you just give me 5 minutes? You know, what can I do in 5 minutes? And so that became sort of the approach to my life, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna read the Word for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna find any time throughout the day, right? I'm gonna take that moment, and then, Lord, I'm just gonna spend 5 minutes with you. I'm gonna shut my phone off. or better yet, I was going to put it in airplane mode and put on a timer for 5 minutes. I literally would put a timer for 5 minutes, and then I would write for 5 minutes. And before I knew it, I just kept building this like progressive discipline of doing these little things for 5 minutes at a time. And after a week of it, every day, doing some like all these things for 5 minutes, I was like looking back and going like, wow, this is really powerful, because that 5 minutes turned into 35 minutes, by the time I was done with 7 days of it. And then combined with everything else, it was like, man, I'm really connecting in prayer more. I'm really connecting in the word more. And so then I started taking it into like musicianship for me. So it was like songwriting, because I kept on getting so crippled by songwriting. It's like, gosh, like I don't feel creative. I just want to go, it's like, how do I harness the moment of being creative and then go songwrite? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, I'm going to take 6 hours and then I'm going to write this album and it's going to be awesome. And it's like, no, that doesn't happen. Like once in a blue moon, really. And so what I did was like, all right, every day, 5 minutes, I'm going to write, whether it sucks or whether it's good or whether I don't like it or something. I'm just going to write. And the thing that happens is with all this stuff, it was like, it wasn't just 5 minutes. It turned into 10, turned into 15, turned into 20. You know what I mean? Because I found out all the extra time that I had. You know what I mean? Sometimes it was 5 minutes. Actually, sometimes it was less, but it was more about the fact that I decided to do it, and I was super intentional. So when we're going into this, like talking about all these different subjects, I want you to see if you can find places in your life where you can carve out 5 minutes, where it's like, okay, Lord, if you're really calling me to spend time with you, I'm going to give you 5 minutes every day, different things like that. So just keep that in mind. I want to talk about the three things: practice, prep, and rehearsal. These are all different. They all feel the same, but they're all very, very, very different, especially for musicianship and what we're talking about tonight. Practice is for musical skill and development, okay? It is not to get ready for a Sunday morning, and it's not to get ready for a show or anything else, you know what I mean? It is purely for your own musicianship and development, okay? And so part of this is going back to the 5-minute principle that I was talking to you guys about, is consistency is king, okay? It's, for me, whatever you do consistently is actually what you value. Would we all agree with that? Like whether we like it or not, whether we want to be doing something or not, whatever we do consistently actually is a reflection of what we really, really value. It's really a heart position, it's we all have this where we can say like, man, like I want to do this. I want to be this, but are we that? And when it comes down to it day to day, what does it actually really look like and stuff like that? So figuring out how to do something consistently, you know what I mean? And so not getting overwhelmed again by time and all that stuff. And what can we do right now for the current moment? And so with practice, it's about aiming for every day, not amount of time. That's what it is. Day by day, small incremental wins every time. Just small incremental wins in doing all that. Because I know like for practice and all that stuff, to become a better musician, you're like, we do the comparison thing. Does anybody do that? Because I do it all the time. I'm like automatically going like, I am not Jeremy Riddle. I am not Brian Johnson. This is ridiculous. And before I know it, I've spent 2.5 hours criticizing the life out of myself. And if I would have just sat back and gone, hey, Ethan, why don't you Google, I did this once. I was like, why don't you Google how old Jeremy Riddle is? I was like, okay, cool. So I did it. Turns out at the time he was like 37. I think I was like 22. Oh, that's a big age discrepancy. It's 15 years? What? Like, I should probably stop being so hard on myself. For real. And Brian Johnson was like, I think 49 or something at the time too. I kind of just went down like this list of like people that I held myself up to. This comparison is like, dude, get over yourself. Like, it's okay. It's going to be okay. The Lord's going to do something in your life if you just actually listen for what he wants to do, not compare yourself. Try to kill the comparison thing. So when we're in music, I mean, it's like we can look at these guys that we really respect. It's like, all right, well, I want to play guitar like John Mayer. That's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's just not. It's like Vern, we talk about like Pino Palladino. Man, I love his bass playing, but it's like 40 years plus of playing bass. That's the reflection. That's what you're hearing. So it's like, let's not do the comparison thing. So let's figure out how we can attack it today and do all that. So I really love Malcolm Gladwell. I'll be saying a couple of his quotes. I've got a bunch of quotes right now. Practice isn't the thing you do once you're good. It's the thing you do that makes you good. So that's Malcolm Gladwell. That's from his book Outliers. Fantastic book. Anybody know who Stephen Pressfield is? Wrote the book The Art of War. Okay. He said the most important thing about art is to work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying. Every day and trying. Not grading it. Don't grade. Just stop grading it. There will be people in your life who will criticize and grade it for you. There will be times that you need to do it, but every day is not the time. It's about doing it consistently and going for it. Okay? Now to the practical side of things. For those of whom who are musicians, I'm talking to bass players, guitar players, keyboard players, those guys. Scales, 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 scales. Just do them every day, every single key, even the one you don't like. F sharp, G flat, whatever, doesn't matter. Just do it every single day. Build dexterity, and then just do it at every single BPM you possibly can think of. Slow, fast, but build this repetition. And I mean, Joseph, I'll always reference you because you come from a collegiate background. Like, if you're a piano major, the first thing you do every single morning, at least for me, was scales. Every single scale. And I'm just asking you guys to do major scales, not even stepping into all the modes or minor, Mixolydian, Phrygian, all that stuff. That's all the piano majors. We sat down and it was like, let's go through all of the modes and let's do every single one and starting on every single note. And it's like, before you know it, you're spending 30, 45 minutes just on scales, maybe even an hour sometimes, working at it. I know for me, it was like, as a jazz musician, everybody talks about spontaneous and jazz because it's free. It's like cool improvisation. That's the whole thing with jazz. And it's like the guys who didn't practice were the worst improvisers. The worst. The best improvisers were the guys who actually wrote out all of the improv stuff that they really loved about other artists. And they learned how those guys did improvisation. And the guys who were the best at it were the guys who practiced scales because they had the dexterity and they knew where they wanted to go. And they were able to make their body do exactly what they wanted to do and what they heard in their mind. So scales, scales, scales. Just do them. It's really important. Practice them in every key. Drummers, rudiments. You have no excuse. You have hands and you have a lap. Practice them. You know what I'm saying? That's it, bro. You don't need, your instrument is right here. Get it, work on that heart metronome that you have. I mean, internally, I remember being in drum lessons in 7th grade, and my drum teacher would just stop me every 3 seconds, and he'd be like, "Your heart's not in it." I'm like, "What? Heart's not in it?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Stop, and I want you to listen to this metronome for 40 seconds." And I had to sit there until the beat of my body matched the beat of the metronome. I had to feel it internally. And then I'd play it and be like, "Now you got it. Cool." It wasn't I'm not fighting this robot. I am syncing up with this thing. This is my friend, you know what I mean? And now we're making music together. So, drummers, rudiments, rudiments, rudiments. Just do it, okay? Please. You're awesome. I need you. I need you to keep the time. Live in the pocket, bro. You know what I'm talking about. So, okay. Rule number 1. If nobody knows what rule number 1 is, I just want to clarify to everybody. If we ever say rule number 1, there's only one rule, and it's don't be a tool. Okay? That's all it is, all right? It basically sums up the gospel, to me, at least. Just be nice to everybody, you know what I mean? Just love Jesus. Don't be a tool. It's a lot of fun when we say that. So, the next thing that I want to, in your approach to practice, replication before invention. Don't try to invent the wheel if the wheel's already been built. Does that make sense? Don't try to make something if it's already been made. because you'll spend and waste so much time thinking that you've made something when you could have just learned how somebody else has done it, and then you'll figure out your own language, if that makes sense. Like it goes back to the best like jazz musicians that I was ever with were the guys who practiced because they learned from the predecessors. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this term like there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? It's like rather than thinking of yourself as like the greatest writer or the greatest musician and composer, like I've done something amazing. There's something good in that, like the desire for that. Like, how about you actually learn what greatness is, and then just like humble yourself and be the best that you can be, and then let other people exalt you. If that makes sense. So I think we do that on a small scale with like approaching practice. Like again, I'm going to use a lot of my life is in musicianship because like I've been a musician since I was like 6. I've grown up in this, and so I've had to battle some of this, and so that's the best place I know to come from. It's like 4th grade. I'm in piano, and my piano teacher is like, "You don't practice at all, do you?" And I was like, "No, because I'm too busy inventing and writing and composing. Like this is my attitude because I'm like a 4th grader and I know everything, right?" I was such a terrible person. Thank you, Jesus, for the grace of God. So bad. I just knew everything. And so, and she just looked me dead in the eye, and she just like, "Ethan, you will limit yourself with yourself. Stop it. If it's all about you, and if it's all about learning what you can do internally, it stops with you." Okay. She's like, "But if you learn what other people do, you will become a better you." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This makes sense." And it was like, all right. And that's actually when she started like teaching me like rock and jazz and different things like that, the stuff I really wanted to learn. But then it actually gave me appreciation for wanting to learn Mozart and Bach, which I just hated for the most part. Sorry, no offense. I love them now. I love them now. But it set me free, and it was really, really good, and it gave me a lot of perspective. So for your approach to practice, creativity will flow out of practice, but sit down to do it. But don't, you know what I mean? Don't just try to imitate. I think imitation really is the best form of flattery sometimes. Try to imitate, try to learn what they've done, and respect what people have processed through and really have gone for. So, yeah, you will find your voice when you learn someone else's. That's an interesting thought. My second, another note is learn to listen to other styles of music. It just makes you better. So for us, we do worship all the time. Like, worship is awesome, guys. Like, I can turn on Upper Room and Bethel Live all day long and jam out. It's going to be great. Okay, I get it. But at some point in time, I actually have to realize that there are other musics in the world, and I have to respect them. A friend of mine, Paul Breimer, he's a worship leader out in LA. He made a really amazing statement the other day when I was talking to him. He said, the most interesting people I've ever met speak multiple languages. They understand culture. He's like, the most enjoyable people I've ever, it's like this kind of like the purity of his heart. He's just like, the most enjoyable people that I've been around, and the people that I wanted to be most like were people who knew multiple languages, because they just got it. They're the most relaxed. They were the most at peace because they just kind of understood the flow of life. I was like, wow, that's really important. And he was like, imagine if we did that with music. We would just have a lot better of a perspective and understanding. So I'd encourage you, listen to music that you don't like. I'm not just talking about pop or country. I'm talking about things that you're just like, you probably wrote off as classical, but you really haven't defined the word classical well. You know what I mean? Find out what romantic music is. Find out what symphonic music is. Find out what arias are. All this stuff. Like, just go on an absolute rabbit trail on YouTube and discover music. Find out what makes your heart tick. Different things like that. Because I will bet that most of it won't be able to be played in a worship service sometimes. But that's on a whole nother topic and discussion that we discussed on Sunday, which was great. Listen to Chopin. He's amazing. Chopin, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it takes me into another part, segue of this is like, be a critical listener. Okay, so who like enjoys listening to music? Okay, awesome. That's so great. You're like jamming in the car. This is cool. It's like, what is it? Miley Cyrus. Put my hands up, playing my song. Right. Anyway, jamming, right? Whatever. So, like, for instance, John, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
Say metalcore.
Metalcore. See, you like listening to metalcore. You like in the car and you're just jamming, right? And it changes your whole emotional perspective, right? Okay, I'm trying to get away from that.
Right.
So for as a musician, you have to get away from that emotional thing. There's times when it's really great to listen to music and to like just immerse yourself and like, man, this is so fun. But as a musician, as our approach to what we'll call practice, be a critical thinker, be a critical listener, and say, what are these people actually doing? Like, I'm broken by college. I have an issue now where I can't listen to music for enjoyment. Like, I listen to podcasts for enjoyment because I was so drilled on by my theory 1, 2, and 3 professors about how to listen to music because it was all about this. It was less about playing and more about listening and taking it in and analyzing. It was almost like science. It's like I'm reading formulas all the time. I would hear passages of music. I know we talked about the natural number system. It's like I can hear progressions. That's how it just floods in my head. I'm like, oh, 2, 3, 1, whatever. It's cool, right? But we did ear training where they're like, you need to know what a Neapolitan sixth chord is. Like you're like, okay, got it. They're like, if you can't tell the difference between like a sharp 6 and like a flat 9, then you're just rubbish. That's pretty much kind of how it was, right? Like you need to know the difference between major 7th, minor 7th. You make me feel so nervous, by the way. I love you so much because you know what I'm talking about. I'm afraid to say something wrong. It's so good. But we were taught this that you had to know it, and then you had to sing it too. That was really crazy. Like, if you want to become a better musician, like work on ear training and then do solfege with it. Ugh, help me, Jesus, Lord. I'm not good. Joseph is amazing. He'll teach you. I'm not. I'm not going to go into that realm. Um, but be a critical listener. Like ask questions while you're listening to music, especially while you're practicing. When you're learning new music, be like, why? Like, why did they do that? Why is that sound happening? Is that a conscious decision that they're making? Or is that like a cultural decision that they're just naturally going about? Like sometimes that happens, where it's like, oh, this is just the music of the region of where they're from. But sometimes the composers are making really, really intentional decisions. If you ever listen to like a Sufjan Stevens song, it is so violently intentional. Every note, every chord, every word, and how all of that pairs together. It's like it's just respecting it. It's like respecting art and learning how to grow with it. If that makes sense. Like if you've ever gone to an art museum and you look at a painting, you're like undone by the visual reality of like how did this person make this? Like they would have had it gone here. You kind of have to do the same thing in a way. Take a moment and stop and listen. What is actually being played? Was this just happenstance? No. Producers in pop music make really, really intentional decisions. So, anyway, but ask questions like, what are they playing? What are the chords? How did they make that tone? What are the techniques that they use? I know for us, like guys who like gears, like what gear do they use? I want to figure that out. It's cool. I'm gonna put all the technical stuff together. So keep asking those questions. And in your practice, here's a big rule: stretch yourself. If you are not uncomfortable practicing, you're not doing very much. Like, just stretch yourself. Take risk. That's the best place to take risk. Nobody else is watching. Don't compare yourself. Make yourself feel uncomfortable. Like, do it. It's so important. If you don't feel like, if you feel like, I want to say this. If you feel like you're a bad drummer or a bad guitar player after practice, chances are you're doing something right. Seriously. And then just fix it with like Jesus and the Holy Spirit, like at the same time, because we do that. We're not supposed to stay in that place, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be brought into the reality. You should be humbled by like what's going on in your practice, and it should feel pretty difficult and like someone's stretching you. All right, so let's get into the second part of this preparation. We'll call prep. Preparation is for a rehearsal, service, or show. It is not practice. Totally different. Absolutely different. It's focused. It's intentional. And it's where you it's where you put to practice all of your things that you learned in practice, if that makes sense. This is the time to really, really use them. Sorry. Malcolm Gladwell said, achievement is talent plus preparation, which I would argue that talent is actually practice. Like, I don't care about your natural ability that much. I care about how hard you work, you know, because I think that's a heart position of the Lord loves that, you know, because all the time we always say this in church is like God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Like in my own life, I've never been ready or prepared to do anything. I've always kind of had to just learn that and figure it out, you know what I mean? And so it's like hard work, practice, figure it out. You know, it's like you deserve to be here. You deserve to do what you're doing. So it's awesome. Just figure it out. And so achievement is talent plus preparation. So anyway, all right. So how do we do this? For us as a worship community, how are we going to prepare the best? What are the tools that we can use? I'm going to ask a question. Do you guys have any ideas? Super easy one. What? Pass? All right. YouTube. Boom. Awesome. Great answer. YouTube. Excellent. Pass plus YouTube. Pads? Oh, pads. I heard pass. I'm sorry. No, that's a really great tool too. No, that's a really great tool. Oh no. Gosh, I forgot how to do this. Sorry, guys. I'm technologically hacking right now. That's awesome. Boom. Number one tool for us as a worship community is Planning Center. This is the communication hub for what we're doing. This does not bypass relationship or anything like that, but this is what we need to use. This is giving us all the information we need. If we're good leaders, you know, who are setting up these set lists like Jay, Nate and I, Josh, we're going to communicate exactly what we want, and we're going to try to do a better job of that for you guys. And I want to, after this, I want to have like a Q&A where we can dialogue, and I want to know how I can help you guys better in that preparation. So who's all seen this before? Right, cool, good, awesome. This is really good. So, for instance, you're going to know all of your times. Part of preparation is being a person who understands their calendar. Really, really great. Awesome. This is good. All right, if you notice to the left, that you're going to figure out exactly who's on team. This is designed not so that you know who's playing with you. It's also designed to show you how you fit with these people. You know, your guitar playing or your singing or anything that you're going to do on Sunday morning will change depending on who's on that stage with you. So you have to critically think like that too, and say like, okay, I actually can't play the way that I normally play. If I'm used to playing three pieces, it's just going to be a way different story when I've got 4 or 5 people on the stage with me. So look at that. That's part of the preparation. It's a quick one. I think we just bypass that a lot. All right, and so then the next way we do it is obviously looking at the set list. You know, because we've practiced all of our keys and scales and stuff like that. F sharp major is not a big deal. Know what I'm saying? It's on there, guys. This is this Sunday in Middleburg. If you didn't know that, it's really great. So I text Josh this morning. I was like, F sharp. Oh, okay. He's like, yeah, it's just better to sing. And I was like, I get that. That's cool. You let the guys know. And they're like, yeah. It's like, cool. So it's gonna be great. So I want to take you into this a little bit more to help you. Who sees this? Oh man, I forgot I can do this. Sorry, you can see this. Look at this little guy right here. Oh, this is so amazing. Sorry. See this little rehearse thing? Right here? See the laser? Oh, this is so fun. Sorry, I'm done. Anyway, has anybody ever clicked on that? One person?
I clicked on it.
You clicked on it? We're going to click on it and we're going to see what happens, okay? You don't have it on the app? We'll go to the iOS app and see what's up with that, okay? So if you do this on the web page, like I'm doing it right now, you have this option, music stand, right? So we know what music stand is, like for those of whom who use it on their iPhones or their iPads or tablets or whatever. You're able to access all the chord charts, and they should be legit and have everything on there, exactly what you need, okay? But what's really great is this media player thing. Boom. All of the YouTube links are there in the order for you to practice with, alongside your chord charts, because you can just pull up Music Stand with it too. They're not? See, now that's on us.
Like right now, there's one missing.
Which one?
It's, which one is it?
They were all there.
There was one missing for this last one.
Was it for last Sunday?
Yeah, it was last.
Was it last night? Okay. So if that happens, send me a text and be like, hey, I can't prepare.
And also for the special,
You're not letting me.
for Friday night, there's one missing.
There's one? Okay. So we'll that's on us. So like let us know if that happens. Sorry for that. Yes, Ann.
You can open Music Stand and.
You should be able to, yeah. You can also download all the
It's 2 devices to do.
you do well whatever works. I'm pretty sure you can. You just download the PDFs, right?
Keep in mind
Right.
that the YouTube videos do not change keys.
They don't change keys, unfortunately. Yeah.
Technology exists, but it does not exist.
I can do this where I could convert all those into MP3s and then you can change it. The keys. Would you guys like that?
I changed all.
No. No.
See, it's gonna sound weird, the tone, so I don't do it.
Yeah, everything sounds.
It sounds funky because you detune and you uptune stuff. It just doesn't sound right, especially when you do it like full octave.
Usually you do it with people singing.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it sounds so wonky. But hey, here's a great way to practice. Learn how to listen to something and play it in a different key.
Or you could, like All Hail King Jesus.
Right.
Like if it's Bethel, it's C. If it's,
Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually C. Is like D flat, and then we played it in C, right, on Sunday.
actually it's C.
You see? Okay.
But if it's, the Dallas, the one in Dallas.
Yes, upper rooms. Theirs is in G because they have a female lead on that. Yeah, was like Jeremy Riddle's album version of that is D flat. Then his live version is
It's so
C.
strange.
Then we're doing it in B, and then yeah.
And it's so strange. I love the upper room much better.
Yeah, sometimes songs just feel better
Feels
for your instrument based on the key. So yeah, you're right. I mean that's why I like singing in A flat because it makes my voice feel a lot better, and just it's good. Like because you want to sing in F sharp, right? That kind of thing. So, but we'll grow on that. So I just want to let you guys know that this is there. So if you didn't know it, I want to just paint a picture for you. Like, go to the rehearse tab and figure it out. So download the PDFs, go for it, and just dive into it. And we are going to do our best to communicate as much as we can on this. I'm working on trying to take it a step further in the notes section because you see how like Josh and Ann are going to be leading these songs. I want to have that for everything, but I want to take it a step further and be like, hey, electric guitar, like one. Let's say we have 2 electric guitars. Like, hey, electric guitar 1, please have this part from pre-chorus, bridge, and second chorus. And then guitar 2, we'd like you just to do open swells for the first, however many times. Okay. We'll try to get more detail. Yeah, it's just it requires more work. It requires more intentionality, but it is important. I want to see that happen for us guys. I want us to see us grow and stuff like that. So thank you for being able to help us. Please listen, I don't like as a leader here, I don't want to be above your feedback ever. So if I'm not doing my job right, if I'm not doing something like I said I was going to do, call me to it, please. Like I want my yes to be yes and my no to be no every single day of the week. So if I forget something and I'm messing up, just call me to it. I don't know. I know you're not upset with me, and it's just because you're holding me to what I said, and it's part of our relationship and part of like, hey, we respect and love one another, okay? Because I want to see you guys succeed in every area, okay? So.
No, that was me just clearing the throat.
Yeah, you better. It's all good. It's all good. So another thing too, download all PDFs. Go ahead and do that. If you're a person who doesn't use Music Stand yet and you still need chord charts, please do that. That's something I want to talk about right now. A lot of our guys, we're getting to this place where we either have it on our iPhones or our iPads. So if you're one of the few that still uses charts, because that is a few people, I'm gonna put it on you to be responsible for your own music. For me, I'm tired of printing out charts, and I'm tired of cleaning up charts and throwing them away. It actually is a waste of my time. And it's like, you can be responsible for that, right? Right. So I want to put that on you guys. So if you do need chord charts, please print it out yourself. If it's really a struggle, please come talk to me and we'll work that out. Okay? But if you can database your own chord charts and you can come with a folder, I'm gonna, like, however you need to organize it, I want you to do that for yourself. If you have questions on chord charts and stuff, like, please ask them. Let's stay in relationship so we can communicate more. But from here on out, whatever chord chart is up there, there should only be one, and that should be the right one. Okay? And if there is an issue, let us know. Okay? Cool? Is that good? Capiche? Cool. I'll send out an email and we'll let the peoples know. Okay? Thanks for doing that for me. It actually really, really helps. Okay. So moving on. This is kind of the approach to preparation. Download the charts, play with the recording, play with a metronome. The BPM number that is up there is there for a reason. Practice with it. Gets you ready for Sunday. It's the internal heart thing. Let your heart like sync up with that thing. Be awesome with it. Okay. Part of practicing with a metronome, and I want to give you guys a little bit of a help and help with that and practice so you can really nail things down. Learn it at regular speed. Okay. Then the next approach is go 20 BPM slower and do the same passage perfect 5 times. Then increase it by 5 BPM. Do it again perfect 5 times. Increase it by 5 BPM until you get back to regular, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Yeah, so what you're learning it at every speed, okay? Then once you get back to regular, I want you to put it at 20 BPM faster and do it in reverse. Work 5 BPM back to regular. Does that make sense? So 5 times perfect. And what you do with this is like if you're learning a solo, like if you were learning like a piano piece or something, right? You would take like 2 measures. That's how I would practice it. I would take chunks. I wouldn't do the whole song. That's not what I'm saying right now. I'm not saying do the whole song 5 times perfect. I'm saying difficult passages that are more than just chord changes, like lead lines. If we're going to talk about like, say you have, for me, it was learning Catch the Wind, which, guys, I failed hard on the piano part. It's so difficult. That's one I have to really, really work at. So I'm going to take the beginning intro, the chord changes, and I'm going to work through that just specific section, regular speed, 5 times perfect. I'm going to go 20 BPM slower, increments of 5. Going back to regular, then go 20 faster, and then work back, okay? Until I feel like I've got it and I feel like I'm confident. So whatever you can play fast, you can play slow. You're building dexterity. That's what's really, really, really important. And it just makes you better, okay? And actually gives you, which is really cool, I love this, it gives you feel, which is really cool. Is like you know how to be ahead of the beat and behind the beat because you're able to sort of like play in the dynamics of time, which is so fun, okay? And you'll learn really quickly. And what this does is actually just helps you become be more accurate at rhythm. You know what I mean? So when we get to like a Sunday morning, if you've ever heard the worship leaders go like, man, that is just super slow. That doesn't feel right for this morning. You can adjust really, really quickly. Okay? Cool. Then the next step in this process that I would say is replicate the sound. Replicate the tone. Whatever that recording is that we're giving to you, use that as your study. It's your study of how to become better. Study of how to become a better musician and replicate and do those different things, okay? So this is really, really, really important for like guitar players, electric guitar players. It's like, what's the amp setting? What's my drive setting? All that stuff. That's a ton. But for drummers, maybe it's tuning, different things like that. And I know that's a little bit of a toss-up there, but like what's stick work? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to do rim shots or am I going to do regular snare hits on this one? What am I going to do? I'm not going to just, no, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like try to mimic what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I know this for a fact. There are a million different ways to hit a hi-hat. There are. That's not one way to hit a hi-hat. Don't tell me. Like, for real. Like, there's times when you got to play on top. Sometimes you got to be washy. Figure that out. Let's not be lazy in that process, okay? Mimic the sound and the tone. The next step that I want to see everybody get to, including myself, I'm going to harp on myself for this, memorize the song. Memorize the song. We want to turn these songs into worship. We're not here to just play songs. We're here to lead worship. You know what I mean? This is our tool to help people engage with the real living God. That's so important. So if we memorize it, we internalize it, it actually becomes a part of us. We don't think about it this way. That song's not taking us for a ride, we're taking it for a ride. Does that make sense? Because if I actually don't know the song, like, it's going to take me wherever. And I'm going to be disjointed. I'm going to be disconnected. What this does for preparation actually allows us to have more synergy as a band. We can hit those moments where it's like, I'm looking over at like Cameron. I'm like, feel this? This is awesome. This is sick. Okay, let's keep going. Cool, great. Like, I want to have these moments where you're like, man, I am with the people that I love, and we're like, the Lord is here, and we're free to do whatever we want to do. That's when creativity happens. I mean, like, moments with Dallas. I remember in Akron, it was like crazy because there's just so much synergy because people were they just knew their stuff, you know, and we would just go and we would create, and it would be like, what happened? You know, these are the moments I'm going to aim for and go for, you know what I mean? Where we're really actually free to be spontaneous. We're not just reckless. Ooh. Yeah, sorry. Like, there's a difference between being spontaneous and being reckless. It's like improvisation. I will go back to it. Like, the best guys who improvisation are the ones who prepared for it. You can prepare to be spontaneous. Like, the Lord will do something with what you've prepared. It's called faith. You know, like, the Lord talks about faith all the time, and he moves in mighty ways with people that are faithful and who are consistent in going after what he's doing and different things like that, and who are working at the craft. And it's just, this is a part of excellence, guys. It's not perfectionism. It's just excellence. You're allowed to mess up. You know, it's totally okay. And I just want to make the mess ups fun. You know, well, it was like last Sunday, Mike Barrow was playing electric guitar. Oh man, he failed so hard. He played the most wrong note ever. And I just looked over at him, and I burst out laughing. I couldn't sing the next chorus. It was great. It was amazing. Because I know that guy practiced and prepared so much that week. And I'm like, dude, it's okay. It happens. It's awesome. And the set was just set free because of it. You know, it's like, we're not here to be perfect. We're just here to do our best and do different things like that. Okay? Cool. So memorize. Singers, if you do not have these lyrics memorized, you're killing me. You don't have that much to do. Seriously. I'm a singer. You don't have that much to do. Like, memorize the lyrics. You can do it. It's really easy. Learn how to learn how to prophesy with lyrics. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to worship leaders, and they're like, don't have the lyrics memorized, and they just like start singing, and I'm like, you don't even know what you're singing. Do you like? What are we doing when we sing like "What a Beautiful Name," like the bridge, like, death could not hold you, the veil tore before you, you silenced the boast of sin and grave. What? That's a mouthful, man. Like, prophesy that thing. Not just because it's a cool part to sing. Like, use the words that the Lord has given us, like, and declare it and figure it out. Like, as a worship leader, as a singer, you got to have that stuff locked in your heart. Process it out. If the lyric challenges you, sit and let the Lord reveal what's going on. Like, I do that all the time, where I'm like, songs I don't like. You know, it's like, what was it? Hillsong Young and Free is Alive. I hated doing that song. And the Lord said, would you actually read the words? I was like, okay, fine, whatever. You know, Poppy and Cynthia, bleh, right? I was getting grossed out by the song. And I was like, I 100% fully agree with every word with that song. And the next time I led it, like, something happened in the room. And it also happened in my heart. I was like, that's the difference. You know, like, for worship leaders, it's just so important. It's got to be a value for us. Like, know what you're singing and use it and prophesy. Preach that thing, man, because it's the difference between somebody experiencing breakthrough and singing a song. I'm going to go for breakthrough every time. So, anyway, okay. And then for your own personal practice, do a full set run through on your own based on the recordings. Like, go top to bottom with transitions. How are you going to prepare for the transition? Don't just practice the song, practice the set. Prepare the set. Like, it's a whole experience. It's a whole encounter. You know what I mean? It's not just, oh, hey, I learned 4 songs, we're good to go. Let's, whatever. It's prepare for the moment. That's how you have to think about it. I'm not just playing songs. I'm preparing for the Lord to show up in the room. That's a whole different thing, guys. And it's like, I'm gonna be so prepared for that. So when the Lord calls me, when the Lord is like, hey, can you do this? I'm ready to go. Okay? So practice those transitions. All of you have played with Jay, Nate, myself, like the guys who are worship leaders. Like you've played with us enough to know like how we're gonna transition something for the most part. You know what I mean? And if there's a little discrepancy, we'll figure that out in rehearsal. Okay? Does that make sense? Cool. And the last and final thing is really important for your preparation, and this goes away from like the musical side of things and it goes in the gear side of things. Make sure your gear is ready to roll the night before. For real. Not the morning of, the night before. Figure it out. Make sure the setup is good. Make sure you're tuned, like your drums are, or whatever. I don't know. Like, figure it out. Make sure your settings are locked in. Like, you've got everything ready to go. For me, like, guys, I got to wake up at, Cameron and I, we wake up at like 6:30 on Sunday mornings. We have full days. The night before, I'm laying out all of my clothes, all of the gear that I need. It is by the door. I'm laying out, like, vitamins, like green smoothie shake or whatever. Like, I'm making sure that my, like, awful self in the morning doesn't forget anything. Like, I'm making future Ethan look great, okay? Because I've shown up way too many times just like really unprepared, and it's bad, okay? So I'm working on it a ton, guys. I'm not super good at it, but just do your best to go after it. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what I'm doing, and I value it. It's really important. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, what?
When we start laying my clothes out in the morning,
Do it, man.
I learned something today.
It's good, yeah. Like, dude, iron your t-shirt, man.
That's right.
Make sure all the holes are in your jeans, okay? Yeah.
I'm rethinking that.
Honestly, man, the Lord, like, put my feet to the fire on this. Like, he was like, for a season, he was like, Ethan, I need you to make your bed every day. I was like, what the heck is going on? It was like a month straight of it. Like, Ethan, make your bed. I'd get up in the morning, like, Lord, it's not that big a deal. Like, I'm just going to work. And he's like, make your bed. Okay, made my bed. And after a month of it, I realized that I felt really, really good about not only waking up, but going to bed. Because I struggled with, like, going to bed. Because I would just work myself into a stupor because I was insane. And it was like, and then I would walk home feeling really upset and, like, awkward. But I would walk in and my room was clean and my bed was made and I, like, immediately had peace. I was like, what is this? And he's like, I'm trying to get you to live a full life. Oh, all right, Lord, cool. But then it was like stepping stones. It was like, now if I, like, it's still a struggle for me. Like, Cameron will attest to this. I'm not a perfect person. My bed is currently today not made. Okay, let's just be honest. Let's be honest. But it's a process, and I'm okay with it. But, like, it opened the door for songwriting for me when I came home because I knew where my guitar was. I could see where my guitar was. Like, and it was like, oh, it's there. I'm ready to go. There's no barrier anymore. It wasn't like, oh, man, I got to do this and this. All right. So, make your bed. All right? All right. The third and final step, rehearsal. Guys, we suck at rehearsal. Like, I'm bad. I'm bad at it. I'm serious. Seriously, we really are not good at rehearsal. Like, you guys know it. Let's just be honest. We're all family here. Okay? We suck. Let's get better. Okay? We call it what it is. It is what it is, right? That's what my dad told me. Call it what it is, son. That was the whole. I'll tell that story later. So we gotta get better at it. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen in our practice, in our preparation the week before, and the weeks before. But in the moment, be on time. Just first step, man. Be on time. It just said it's just a giant "I love you" message to me, and to Jay, and to all the worship leaders, and to really honestly everybody who's in the band that morning. It's just a giant saying, "Hey, I really care about you. You're important to me." Unlike this microphone, I really value you. Okay, so please just do that. I'm not a tyrant. I don't want to be one. okay? I don't want to have to police you and be like, hey, why are you 20 minutes late? It's just not fun because we can't really do what we want to do. Man, I feel Steve's pain on Sunday morning. If this thing's not right, God, I would kill someone. Listen, I'm saved in being saved, okay? Anyway, this microphone's rough. If you need, yeah, I know, right? Sorry. We'll look back to these moments later in life. If you need time to set up, come earlier. Do it. If you actually need to come in 30 minutes earlier, text me. Text your worship leader. They'd be like, we'll do it. We want Sundays to be successful, but if we don't know, we won't prepare for it, right? So, and if you need more time than that, because I know we're not doing midweek practices anymore, please, again, text us. We'll set up time for you to come in. The doors are open. Like, I'm here. Like, Nate and we're here all week, you know? So if you're like, want to come in and help and set up and stuff like that, and you're like, hey, I want to make sure that I'm good to go for Sunday mornings, please, be my guest. I would love to have you in. Plus, it would be super cool to hang out. And it would be super great to not just, like, have to do work all day. And I'd like to see you guys. I like you guys. We can get coffee. Seriously. If I saw you, John, every day, it would be great. Don't do that. We get a little annoying after a while. You're okay after 10 minutes. Just kidding. There's a couple of rules. Coming in, if someone's struggling with getting set up, because that is going to happen, it's a rule, help them. We're family. We are family here. Help them. And don't be too proud to accept help. Okay? That goes for me. I think I can do everything. Sorry, guys. So sorry. Okay? Shut up, Ann. I love you. And you're so right. Okay? You're so right. I'm a person. Guys, I'm preaching to myself here with all this stuff. So heavy. It's not easy. Don't play while people are talking. Like, seriously. Drummers, love you guys. Quit playing while people are talking. You guys do a pretty good job of that. Cameron, you're getting better.
Great job.
You are great at it. You're probably one of the only drummers I've ever met who doesn't play in between. Thank you. You're a man. John, you do a good job too. Just everybody, just in general. I know here's the thing, if you're practiced and prepared, you won't have to play in between things. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Listen. Okay? Ask questions. Rehearsal is an amazing time to ask questions. Don't be, like, too proud to ask questions. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. Let somebody know, and we'll figure out how to know. Okay? It's going to be great. So please ask questions. The other rule, listen first, play second. Hear the direction, then do the direction. Don't assume. Don't assume. It's just terrible. You know the saying. I'm not going to say it. Okay? Number one. Rule number one, y'all. Okay? All right? Cool. Here's another rule. Respect. Seriously. We all love each other, and we have the best intention for every person. I believe that you have the best intention for me, and I have the best intention for you. That's how we're going to choose to live life together. That's how we're going to choose to communicate. We're not going to assume. My joy in life is that you would live the fullest life in Jesus, and that you would succeed in every area of your life. So when I talk to you, that's the basis of which that I'm coming from. And I believe that every one of you is coming from that place about me. Can we agree to do that? That sounds awesome. Because if we figured out how to do that, I think a lot of things would get solved super quickly. Okay? And if we don't feel that, we just ask the question, hey, you doing okay? How do you feel about me? Because I don't feel great. Okay? It's called brave communication. It's really, really good. Sorry, I'm dropping bombs, y'all. Okay? Like, we all love each other, okay? Be able to hear feedback in the moment. Like, it's okay. Like, seriously, if I'm off pitch because I didn't warm up, tell me. My gosh, like, tell me, like, hey, Ethan, the thing that's going to help you out the most right now is if you actually end practice 20 minutes early and you spent 5 minutes in the back warming up. I would love to hear that feedback. Seriously. I don't want to be a pitchy as a mug, like, in, like, service. It's such a distraction because, again, our value is that people encounter Jesus, encounter breakthrough, and there are legit things in music and legit things in our world that hold people back. Totally. Like, We all hear pitchy worship leaders, and we're like, oh, don't know where the Lord is because I'm too distracted by that. Again, I know there's devil's advocate was like, I've been to teen camps, man, and that couldn't sing, but he sure loved the Lord. He showed up. Like, okay, cool. Can you sing well and the Lord show up? That's what I'm hunting for. Gosh. Of course, have your heart right, but like, just be better. Just be better. We've got to be able to be free enough to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like, if you guys know me, I say stuff like that, but it's like, if you know my heart behind it, I'm not here to throw you under the bus. I'm here to actually get you on the bus so we can go somewhere. It's like, gosh, man, I'm so ready to go. I love when he shows up. I just want him to come every single time, and I'll do anything. It doesn't matter, yeah? So, manage your own charts. I'll go back to that. Again, just come ready, manage your own charts for the rehearsal. And this is the hard, fast rule that we're going to set for ourselves because we need to do it, because this is another one of our values. We need to be done 15 minutes before every single service. I don't care if it's Sunday morning, conference, Freedom Weekend, 15 minutes before service. Because if we're really practicing, we're really preparing, our rehearsal should be done in time. That we can be done 15 minutes before, because that 15 minutes is not to lollygag in the back and just like chill with everybody else. That 15 minutes is for every one of us to become a great leader in our local body and church. We do not need to be a band who is separate from our congregation. They are our family. We just play instruments. That's it. There's nothing better about them or better about you. This stage does not make you better, and if you think it does, let's have a conversation afterwards, because we're going to figure it out, okay? Every one of these people that sits in every one of these chairs is as valuable as you and I on a Sunday morning. And they deserve a handshake, and they deserve a conversation, and they deserve to be greeted and loved. And sometimes the best way for you to be a worship leader is to look somebody in the eye and say, hey, I'm so glad to see you this morning. Because that actually engages them to actually want to sing. Because they're like, man, that guy loved me. And I want to know what he has. That's what it comes down to, guys. It's worship leading. It really is. It's worship leading and loving your family really, really well. I need to get better at that, because again, it's going back to, I want to remove barriers for everybody. I want to remove these things that hold people back. Like, I want to go through and have quote unquote the breakthrough anointing of a handshake for that guy who's never sang in church before. Yeah, like, you think about that? Like, what if my handshake was like, hey man, what's your name? Like, it's so good to see you. That took 10 seconds. That was it. And that 10-second moment is like crazy. Guys, Jerry, right? Like, Jerry's crazy, guys, right? We love Jerry. He's nuts, man. And we're like, sometimes you're like, what are you doing? You're all over the place. I love you, man. But you're like, at the end of the day, you know he loves you. And you know he loves every person that comes into our church. We have, like, seriously, guys, we get so many emails in the office of people, like, giving a testimony, like, that Jerry guy shook my hand, and I love this church. Like, so many, like, every single week, man. They're like, Jerry. They know Jerry, and they know Jerry's forum. And Jerry doesn't even remember their name half the time. But he's just saying, hey, man, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here in church. Because he really is, and he really cares. Can we do that? Can we do some of that? He's really asking us to do that. 15 minutes, guys. Take that time, and then let's come together and let's pray. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Like, we don't need 20 minutes to pray. We don't even need 5 minutes to pray. Here, I'm gonna coach everybody in here. This is our prayer before every worship set, okay? Because part of it is preparation. If you're not praying about your worship set before your Sunday morning, we have bigger issues. Like, it's so big. Like, intercede, like, way beforehand. Like, we don't need to be, like, getting prayed up beforehand. It just stresses me out. Like, just even thinking about that, it's like, this is the prayer for everybody. Lord, I can't. You can. Thank you. Amen. That's it. Boom. Let's go worship. That's it. Position your heart that. Like, Lord, I can't make this happen. I get to do it with you this morning. Thank you for the opportunity. That's it. I know you're going to show up because I know you want breakthrough more than anybody else. I don't have to pray you into this room. I'm going to invite you into this room. That's it, right? Okay? Cool. Sorry, I'm getting heated, y'all.
Restart jacket, y'all.
like this. Listen, I got the Play-Doh's come up on this. Okay, this was like $10. Praise God. Whew, man. Offering declaration, gifts and surprises, man. I got like 4 pairs of G-Star jeans with it too. Shut up. I love you, man. Awesome. Okay, cool. So the primary focus of our rehearsals is this, just to give you guys an idea. Intros, outros, transitions. Intros, outros, transitions. That's really what we need to be preparing for. That's really it. Clarifying those major parts of the song, the ending, the beginning, the ending, and how we're going to transition from one song to the next, and really nailing that down, okay? And then the other part of our rehearsal has got to be about sound check. Because those guys back there are trying to make us look like a genius, and if we're not prepared up here, they can't do their job well. They just can't. So let's help them out because they want to succeed, okay? So how our rehearsal basically just needs to look like, start with a sound check, okay? It's going to go drums, bass, keys, guitars, vocals. Please mix your ears as best as you can during that time, okay? The time when we're going to mix our ears is during sound check and after the first song, okay? Please don't mix during a song. Can I tell you what happens with me? I lose confidence really quickly if you're mixing your in-ears and not playing, because I'm trying to run through the song and I'm trying to make sure everybody knows where they're at. You know what I mean? So if somebody falls out, it's like, okay, this one's going to be rough, even though you may know what you're doing. But it just honestly kills my confidence sometimes because I'm trying to do it with you guys, okay? So please do it in between songs, not during, okay? It's all good. No, it's all good. No worries. That's what we talk about. I've never said that before, have I? No, but it's great. We all have the realization now. That's the approach, okay? And we're gonna work for it, okay? So that's pretty much it, guys. And please just be flexible. Just be flexible in all this. This isn't to set out standards and like, hey, we have to do this and we're gonna throw you under the bus. No, it's just like this is what we're going for. This is what we want to do consistently because we value people. We value the Lord showing up in the room. At the end of the day, I want you to hear that more than anything else when I'm talking about practice and stuff, is because I just really care about people meeting Jesus. That's the most important thing, and I'll do anything for it. And I want you guys to come along that journey with me, and let's do it together because it's going to be a heck of a good time. It's going to be fun. Okay? Sweet. Just a couple of books, apps, and websites that are going to help you guys out for practice and preparation. Okay? Books. I would encourage you, read the book called War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Steven, Steven Press Field. War of Art, sorry. War of Art. Did I say Art of War?
Yeah, I was like, that sounds sick.
I'm sorry, that's yeah, it's confusing. It's a play on words. It's called War of Art, not Art of War. That's a totally different book, though very good.
Also a good book.
Also very good. Sensu, not Steven Pressfield. It's a really small, short read. I'll see if I can find the book to show you. Steven Pressfield. Another book that's really great by Malcolm Gladwell is called Outliers. Okay? And these books are talking about less about like musicianship and more about like the quality and creativity and character of a person who is achieving and being successful. That's the book where he talks about 10,000 hours. Anybody familiar with that? Whatever you do for 10,000 hours, you become a master of. Okay, there's a lot more to that book than just 10,000 hours. And if you ever hear anybody start talking about 10,000 hours, and be like, have you actually read that book? Yeah? Do that. Call him to it. I'm just kidding. Call him out. Malcolm Gladwell. Just how it sounds. Let's see if we can find the cover of this book for you. And then, yeah, that's what it looks like. The War of Art. Okay? For all you people out there. The third book, one that I'm I just so love, is called Celebration of Discipline. It's one of the books my dad paid me to read. My dad had a book list of things that if I read it, he would pay me. I was like, this is sick. Yeah. And it's kind of like from the 70s, but it's just a really good book. It's by Richard J. Foster, and this one is on developing spiritual disciplines, and it's really, really helpful. Really great values to just read in there. Really practical and helpful. Richard J. Foster. Celebration of Discipline, I'm sorry. Really good. Those are the only three that I have there. Sorry, I'm going to look this up for you guys. I'm going to work out this whole media thing here. It's a little bit more rough than we have in Brunswick. Celebration of Discipline. Apps to assist in helping you. Obviously, the Music Stand app, because that goes right alongside with Planning Center.
Only
You know.
exists on Apple, correct?
No, it should exist on both.
Oh, really?
Yes, both.
Yeah, there's it's like services or something like that.
Yeah, there's the services app, but I think Music Stand is also available.
Oh, no, I have it.
You have it? Okay, cool. Awesome, yeah. For a metronome, if you don't have one, get Tempo. Tempo is really, really good. Awesome. For drummers, I want all of our drummers to be on Tempo.
Make playlists.
You can make playlists. It's really good.
Is that, you
And-
have to pay for that one?
$2.
It's $2.
You can buy it.
I'll give you 50 cents. Yeah.
$1.25 on Google Play.
Boom. Switch.
Got cheaper.
I spent like $6 on it.
Sorry. Oh, did you? I love the sound on it. I think it just sounds really good. It sounds better than any other one that I've had, for at least for everybody in the ears. Tempo, please use that. It's really good, really effective, and you can do subdivisions and all that different stuff and accents, right? For those of whom who have things that need to be tuned, I would encourage you. I think a good tuner is free. It's the Boss Tuner, BOSS. It's very good. Okay, if you want to spend a lot of money, go with the Peterson tuner. It'll be really accurate. But just for a simple, straightforward one that's free, the Boss Tuner works really, really well if you don't have a pedal tuner. Another great tool, like Bethany mentioned, pads, not pass. The app called AutoPad. This is iOS only, so sorry. But we use it during services to play pad loops and different things for different settings. I think it costs $2. Is it $3? $2.99. It is so worth it. It's really great. So if you want to practice worshiping and being a worship leader, throw it on there. You got like a substitute keys player. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really good. It's got different sounds too. I know.
Well, if you have access to iTunes, Worship Pads is also like, it's just an album full of all of the pads.
Yeah, you can just buy 'em.
Like 9 minutes.
Yeah, that's a great solution too. iTunes worship pads. That's really good. Yeah, so this the AutoPad one is really great because it's on one screen and you have all the keys just right there, ready to go. It's really simple to change. Has nice transitions and stuff. It's a good tool to use. And what was it? Oh man, if you have an iPhone, Music Memos is awesome. This is probably like the #1 songwriter tool. It's like voice memos, but it's made for musicians. And you record your voice or your instrument through it while you're playing, and it's pretty accurate. It gives you the chord structures of what you're playing. It'll tell you what key you're playing in, and it'll help you. And it'll actually give you an assistant, like a computer drummer with it. It's like the cheapest way to make demos. I'm not even kidding. It's so weird. Just this. Learn how to use a computer. Make it yourself.
No,
Yeah.
Today
Yeah.
before I came here, I was on my computer for
Yeah.
like an hour and a half trying to figure out like how to put down this melody and
Yeah.
musical idea in my head.
All
The
right.
problem was I'm like, am I in 7/8 for this measure? What just happened here?
Totally.
And then I was like,
Totally.
okay, I changed, but I was like, no, but
Yeah.
now quarter equals
Totally.
dotted quarter. How do I put this
Oh
down?
my gosh. Worship prop, like musician props, I should say. Yeah, that one's. If you got an iPhone, that's free. Like that's awesome. Yeah, dude, for real. Super simple. I still use like the regular old voice memos too, but it's really cool. It's a great songwriter tool. I'll tell you to just go for it. Websites, obviously, Worship You, great site to get on if you're not a part of it. Like, it does cost money. It is subscription based. I would say give it a month or two. Just like use up as much as you can in that like month or two. It'll cost you like $20. Just go for it, and take hold of it. Spend a lot of time on it. It'll be really good. For those of whom who want to, what? Oh, I'm sorry. That's awkward. The computer fell asleep. Let's just turn that off. Anyway, harsh, bro. I'm about to be done. I'm wrapping up, guys. Sorry. For those of them who want to learn more about production and technology sides of things, or tone and different things like that, this is more of like sound engineering and stuff. Production Online is an amazing site, jam-packed with some really, really strong professional information. That's from Luke Henriksen, who is he runs it, and he's the broadcast engineer for Bethel. Stuff on mixing, how to mix live drums, stuff like that. I was like, it's really cool. And then the third one, and it's so free, and it just requires you to do something. YouTube. Like, seriously, YouTube. Like, it's awesome. Like, just go for it. YouTube. The YouTube.
Another awesome tool is Reddit. Like,
If you're into Reddit, totally.
no, like,
Yeah.
Even in terms of like when you're, because like I can go to YouTube and I can like, for instance, I want to learn how to play jazz better, and that's
Totally.
a goal for me. And so I went to YouTube and I'm like, what video do I choose?
Right.
No idea. But if I go to Google and say like, learn how to play jazz, Reddit, just add Reddit in there, it will throw me to a couple of forum threads where people who are really into this sort of thing say, here are the best videos to look at, like if you want to learn how to play jazz better. Like,
Super efficient.
so the people will be able to will point you to resources that are really
Totally.
helpful.
Yeah. That's a great tool. Yeah, like, and especially even with like Reddit too, like if you're engaging in trying to learn different musics that aren't just worship, like you said, jazz, and like you can find like transcriptions. So like Art Tatum stuff, like I love Art Tatum. To find his music is very difficult at times because he has these old recordings and it wasn't transcribed very well. And you can go on like Reddit and stuff like that, and guys have it, and it's really good. So yeah, go ahead and use that. Find find a YouTube channel that works really, really well. There are guys who have really nice, clean, consistent YouTube channels that are really good at teaching. You don't really need to pay for guitar lessons, guys. Seriously, like YouTube has it. Like it just requires you to be, again, critical listener. Just go for it. Step into the place where it stretches you and it makes you feel awkward a little bit. You know what I mean? And if you get to that place where you're like, man, I'm just not learning anymore. My last and final thing is you are never too old or good to take lessons. Seriously, you're not. Go take lessons. There's no shame in that. In fact, if you told me like, hey man, I'm actually taking lessons from this professor at this local college, I would be stoked. That'd be so awesome to hear. I'd be like, man, cool, guys are getting better, So check in with like a local university like Baldwin Wallace. Phenomenal music program. They are hecka good. Like the professors there, you can sign up for classes. You can audit classes. You can audit music classes. Like a lot of, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of like community colleges, but also like local universities, like Baldwin Wallace, they give what are called like audit classes for residents of the city. And you can just take college level classes for free. It's awesome. Like the College of Worcester where I grew up, you could come into, I think, 4 classes per semester. That's crazy. Yeah. It's really good. Like you don't get college credit for it, but you just go and you learn. Like there's this one girl who was a songwriter locally in our town. She had already graduated from NYU and was just at home, and she's trying to make it as a songwriter, but she just kept coming back to theory classes. She's like, I just want to stay fresh. I don't want to take English classes, and I didn't get to do this in college. Like always be a learner, that kind of thing. So plus the best training you're really gonna get is gonna be honestly from a college. I would tell you that. I think local music shops are great. They're really cool. They're gonna teach you functional stuff. But if you really want to like dive into becoming a better musician and quite frankly like a professional musician, go there. because they're going to have a lot of really good background. Okay? And I will tell you this, that is where you'll get exposed to other music. Go to recitals. Like, it's awesome. There are recitals happening all the time at local colleges. University of Akron, all the time. I didn't see enough recitals to graduate from my college. Seriously, that was the thing. I didn't go to them, and I had to in order to graduate. So I had to go to 58 some recitals over a course of 2 years, and I went to the University of Akron. And I was like, why have I not been hanging out here? Why am I such an idiot? I don't know anything. This is so cool. And I got to hear one of the most amazing premier jazz guitarists who was up and coming in the Akron area. He's a killer guy. He's super cool. But I wouldn't know that unless I went. So just engage with that. Engage with local music and stuff like that. It's really good. And the other part too, last thing, is you'll never know who you'll meet. Turns out you might actually just meet somebody who's a killer guitar player and really needs to meet Jesus. Bring him to church, man. For real. Listen, guys, I'll put a guitar player up here who doesn't know Jesus. I'll see them get wrecked next Sunday. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's figure it out, Sorry, that's just my thought. Ways to enter the kingdom. Watch that in youth group happen so many times. So amazing. Amazing musicians who are like, who's Jesus? But I can play music? Well, let's go do it. And the drummer's on the floor, and you're like, yeah, sweet. Okay, cool, awesome. You guys have any questions, Q&A? Let's do that real quick. Sorry, I don't want to keep you too long. How can I help you guys more? How can I help you prepare or practice or rehearse better? I want to open the door for that. Yeah, Ann, come on. Not Ann. Sorry, Dad.
Okay, well, so I have only been in 2 actual services
Okay.
so far.
Yeah.
And every time that we've gone in for rehearsal, so we're called in at 4:30,
Mhm.
we don't start until 10 after 5.
Right.
And so being a new person for me,
This is so dumb.
and it can be a little stressful.
Sure.
Because I would like to have as much time as possible. I'm sure everyone else would too.
Okay.
So, I don't know if there's room at Akron,
Mhm.
if it's the coming in a little bit earlier, or it's more people getting their lives together before.
Totally.
We actually.
Yeah, I'll say this for me, Akron's so crazy because you're getting, Nate and I sometimes
Right.
at our last service, and we don't do a good job of that, and I'm sorry. That's not cool. There is opportunity to come early if you want. I'll give you the code, to get in and stuff like that, so no big deal. We'll have to figure that out better, for sure.
When you say that as a vocalist, you can't really do anything for you guys. I don't know.
You want to learn about Pro Presenter? I'll show you. Anybody want to learn about Pro Presenter? That'd be really, really great. Let's come. How can we help out? I think that's some good questions. If you see people like me or whatever who are not ready on time, hey bro, what can I do to help you? Because you're a hot mess.
Right.
Okay, so
That's
Good.
where I feel like I'm just
I want to help.
what can I do?
I will say this, the times that I've asked, can I help?
Mhm.
They're like, no, I'm just here running.
Totally.
So
I'm the king of that.
you gotta
sorry.
learn how to give other people responsibilities.
Totally.
Delegate.
I
know there's some
I think what's super good for that, right? Because in the moment, it's really hard, right? So for instance, if you're how can I help? And for me, it would be kind of be this thing where there's no way to teach you.
You're plugging in a million
Well,
cords.
Yeah.
okay, I feel like
In the
I can
moment.
use that.
No, but I'm saying there's not a way in the moment to be efficient for everything that's going on. It's better to review, and this is what I would say, it's better to review afterwards.
Let's be real. Just musicians are particular.
Sure.
So if you're just yeah, you can go ahead and plug in this plug, and it's not plugged in at the right.
Oh,
moment,
totally.
You're
Yeah.
all right, and then you can fix it yourself.
Well, I think some of the problem that we've had recently,
Yeah.
that I can recall, is that there's other things than just what's going on up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the computer decides to
Right.
go crazy,
Totally.
and that can be really troublesome. I almost I know the asking people to help out and stuff
Mhm.
can be good, but how do you feel about like the sink or swim mentality? Like, because right now we're talking about ways that we can improve and ways to better prepare.
Yeah.
And part of what you've been telling us is based on things that we haven't done well in the past and things
Right.
that we know we need to do better.
Yeah.
And I feel like, personally, I like the idea of, like, okay, so we didn't get all the slides up for people. Well,
Yeah.
them's the breaks, and then we suffer with the fallout of that, and that makes
Yeah.
us next week much more inclined to do it right.
Yeah, sure. On paper, that looks good.
Practice, not something.
Yeah, you're not the one who gets to hear about it on Monday.
Practice wants to be looking at you.
Yeah, I mean, like, the fact of the matter is like, that's cool for you. Monday morning's not good for me. That makes sense? Like, that's stuff we gotta clean up. That's just like, you have to do it. You know what I mean? And that's my job. So I'm gonna go after it. I understand what you're saying, sink or swim. When it comes to stuff like that, especially in regards to pro presenter, that's not a sink or swim option. No. I mean, there have been times that it's very,
Representer's so easy.
it's not.
Like,
It's not. The way that we're doing it, the input of it is really, really not. No, I wish it were.
yeah.
It's really not. And the place that we're going to and what we're trying to get to is not just like white words on a black screen.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to use that as a tool for people to engage in worship. And that's what I want to move toward. That's on me. I've got to prepare those guys, the tech guys, in advance. So a lot of the guys here aren't tech guys, right? Nobody does sound or tech other than Taylor. I'm sorry.
I was just really
Yeah.
wanting to make a comment.
Good.
But what I will say, like, from knowing Pro Presenter, or from somebody who's on Pro Presenter, like, you can tell when the room shifts
Totally.
and the new song or engagement levels when people want to know.
It's true.
Because I mean, even myself, who knows 99% of worship songs, I still
Yeah.
forget verses, or you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So it is like a really important part of worship, and I would say it's just as important as any instrument, because without that, people can't engage.
Right. Totally.
So, but also,
Yeah.
like, there was that time at Akron where Elizabeth didn't show up, and I was like there.
It's
And
true.
he like kept typing and like kept inputting songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, Ethan, can I help you? Ethan, can I help you?
Yeah.
Ethan, can I help you?
That was a stress ball.
And you just like finished it, and I could have like done that in
Sure.
the time of you like getting up on stage.
Right. And
And I
that's
know it
trust.
depends on the person and like knowing,
Yeah.
but like,
Sorry about that. I mean, like, for me, that's like, because I don't know that in that moment. I'm like, I don't know if you can actually get it done. Like, I'm asking that question. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, and if I've steamrolled you, I'm really good at that. So sorry. Like, and that's why I say, like, if that happened, because guys, that stuff is going to happen. Like, the more that we do things and we add things on and try to progress and go, we have to have the respect thing where if, like, honestly, if I make a mess, like I've said, like, and you've called me out before on ceremony. You're like, hey, like, I actually felt like destroyed by that. Like, really? And we've had a conversation. So it's like, let's review that. Like, I'm sorry if I ever come across that I can't have that conversation. Seriously, that's not my heart at all. And I hope that you guys can hear that tonight. And like, let's review that, because things are gonna happen in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, where we're gonna have bad days. You know what I mean? And there's gonna be a thing where we kind of get defensive. You're like, no, dude, I've practiced, I've prepared. Guys, like, here in Middleburg, if you know this, like, I spend 6 to 8 hours on setting this place up, getting it ready to go. And it's like Sunday morning practices. What the heck is happening? Rehearsals, I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm trying to work through some of that, and it's like, oh, I've done my job, but it still wasn't quite there. So how do we deal with those moments because at the end of the day, it's not about pro presenter, it's not about playing the music right, it's about people. So, yeah.
Well, just to sort of get us off of the pro presenter versus musicians thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to like.
Yeah, no, everyone's
Get
important.
hung up on that, but
No.
like in terms of also like
Mhm.
we've had rehearsals where a musician has been late.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been really crucial that we rehearse with that musician.
Right.
And then they get there, and then we've got to wait for them to set up. We've got
Right.
other things happening.
Totally.
So at some point, like we understand that the need to rehearse is really important.
Right.
But the need to have a good sound and have everyone set up
Absolutely.
properly is really important.
Yeah.
So somewhere somewhere we're gonna be robbing from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
So I guess at what point, like, can we, I don't know that we need to have hard and fast rules, but it would be helpful for me as a musician and to know, to feel like there's a point where we say to a person, all right, we need to move on now.
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't seen that happen
Okay.
yet, so I wonder, is that okay? Is there a point where we can say to a drummer who's still tuning,
Yeah.
or to me as a keyboardist who's still trying to figure it out, where you say, like, actually, I appreciated on Sunday, you said, we will do that later. Let's just rehearse the song.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
know? And
Yeah.
is there a point where we can just start saying that to each
Totally.
other? Where, like,
I think that is right now. Like as I'm communicating that goes back to the respect thing, where it's like, I have the best intention for you, and I believe that you have the best intention for me. Let's come to that agreement. We're gonna be people, and things are gonna be a little rough, but we have to have the conversation because it's gonna turn into passive aggression, and once it turns into passive aggression, then it turns into bitterness, and once it turns into bitterness, nothing is going to happen. Nothing will be created, and it will be rough, and we're just gonna be really terrible people to each other when at the end of the day we really care, right? So I think we engage that conversation again. We have to have sort of this emotional IQ, if you will, where we have to know who we're approaching, because not everybody is the same, and some people you can call them out in the moment in front of people, I being one of them. You're like, hey Ethan, what are you doing? I'm like, my bad. Cool, great. Some people, you do that and their entire year is gone. You just got to learn who those people are. You know what I mean? And if you need help with that, come talk to me. I have a decent gauge of some of that. I have a decent gauge. Some are easier than others. Listen, we're all our own particular peach, okay? So, yeah, I think that is where it's like the safe bet is not to call out anybody in public, okay? I think the safe bet is, again, I'm going to say it like, let's review after, because, again, it's about that person. It wasn't about them being late. It's about that person. And always approach with a question. Hey, man, are you doing okay? Like, hey, you were late this morning. Did something happen? Because it's saying, I'm not worried about you being late. I'm worried about you as a person. Oh, your kid threw up on your face? And you had to get dressed again? Oh, that sucks, man. I'm so sorry that happened. But if I don't have that conversation and I turn passive aggression and go, man, they're always late. I'm building up a case against that person, and I'm creating bitterness in my heart, and all it was is that their kid threw up in their face one time, and then I built this whole case of why they were late, okay? Versus having the conversation and saying, is there any way that I could have helped you in that moment? Like, I'm here to help you. I'm so sorry that happened, okay? But how can we make it better next time? There are cases where people's preparation, practice, maybe character, life decisions, because there are people who are just late, guys. Seriously, like because that's their value in life. They haven't learned how to do it other ways. But if we don't approach them with that question, they can't actually get through that. And that's where we've got to become family for people and say, like, hey, we're going to help you. I struggle in this area, or I did struggle with that. Can I help you here? This is the ways that I get ready on Saturdays. Would that help you to show you that? Different things like that. Does that make sense? I think that's got to be our approach to it. You know, I mean, it's less in the moment in rehearsal, because that can be really crazy sometimes. You know what I mean? I don't want to say necessarily less in rehearsal, but for some of those moments, let's keep the main thing about people. You know what I mean? And if there's like a really big thing that's holding us back from leading that night, let's really engage with that. But for some of those moments, like, you know, Taylor, that was a good situation to bring up. Like, if like I totally steamrolled you, I'm sorry, because you're trying to help me lead worship. I get it totally. Like, it's like help me help you situation. It's like, gosh. So after the fact, like right now we're talking about, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Taylor actually like can do this. Cool, got it. Next time if that happens, hey Taylor, can you grab that? I trust you. I think now, like, we're getting to that place, like, I'm like, cool, Taylor, like, trust you, I'm pro presenter. It's gonna be awesome. Cool. So, like, if we can all do that for each other, okay? Yeah.
I think it'd be good to recognize what we need, like you need a moment for someone to say, hey, I want to help you lead worship, because those words.
Yeah, totally.
Snap you
That's
right
really
out.
important. Yeah.
Snap you right out.
Yeah, I want to help you. Hey, I want to help you lead worship. Yeah, I was like, the other night, I'm like graphic designing 30 minutes before our service. I'm like, it sucked. and it didn't even get displayed. I was like, oh. Oh, I'm gonna put propane on this and set fire. Like, it's fine. My internal world's great. It's good. I exaggerate. Sorry, guys. No, but it was like, man, I don't want to waste my time because I could have spent it in a better way. And if I'm doing that, guys, listen, you guys have been around me long enough to know, like, Ethan gets crazy and he works super crazy hard. Like, hey, Ethan, like, people on staff are like, hey, Ethan, why are you here at 7:30 on a Wednesday? Go home, eat a sandwich. And I'm like, I need to accomplish this. And that's kind of just my personality. I work hard. I love doing all of these things. You know what I mean? And I love seeing people engage with nights like this. This is why the whole reason why I'm doing it is like I want people to learn. I want people to know and like experience more. But again, sometimes that's not healthy. And so we can stick up for one another and be like, hey, yo. I mean, and you did that like the second year I was here. I remember you're like, hey, we need you to be okay. Because if you're not, we're not. I'm like, fair enough. I'll chill out a bit. My bad. And we've gone through some of that, right? It's gotten a lot better, like where I really don't care that much anymore, which is thank you. It is. It's really great. It's so freeing. Like, yeah, it's like, but you're part of that process. You were a part of that mess. You stepped in and you decided to help me, and I appreciate that because you said something and you're willing to take a risk. You know what I mean? So I think if we get to this place again, let's go back to it's like, hey, I have the best intention for you, and I assume that you have the best intention for me. I can hear something hard. If it maybe is it a flaw in me, I need to know about it. We've got to be able to hear feedback because we're not perfect people. And let's celebrate successes too, guys. I mean, we're going to do that too. And let's just have fun with it, okay? Cool. Any other thoughts? Sorry, I don't want to talk. We're good? Was this helpful? Is this good? Yeah. Ish? Yeah? Kind of boring? A little sleepy? Cool. Great.
So one thing
Go ahead, Vern.
always struggle with.
Yeah.
And I asked very fittingly, like, all hail King Jesus. We're doing that in G, right? Kind of kidding, kind of serious at the same time.
Yeah.
But I do struggle sometimes wondering why, or how, what is your mind thinking, or Josh, what is his mind thinking, or Jay, what is his mind thinking when he puts songs and he assigns a key to that song? How does that happen? Is there like a main song? Like we have 5 songs for Sunday. Is there a main song that we're centering these key charts around, or is it just the transition from one to the next that you're trying to?
Yeah. So part of this is theory. Number one, the human voice has limitation. Okay. So does your bass, right? You can only play a low E string unless you detune it, right? Okay. There's an even greater limitation at times on some people's vocal ranges. So All Hail King Jesus is not going to happen in G for me. It's not.
That was just an example.
Yeah, totally. So for instance, how you feel playing in G.
Was good. I like to see.
Yeah. But for instance, how you played in G, you're like, I feel really good about this. I feel really confident. Okay. I feel that way in C as the worship leader. So if I were to sing it in G, everybody in here would go, wow, cool, Johnny Cash. Like it's really low.
Depends on who's going to sing the lead.
Totally. It changes with different people's voices, you know what I mean? And like I said, the discrepancy between A and A flat is huge for me, for specific songs. Like you can have it all. I can do it in A, but I'm telling you, you'd rather hear me sing it in A flat. You just would. And that's some of the decisions that we make. How I frame a set list is based on theme, and at times it is based on key. You know what I mean? So I try to, for good transitions, I try to stay in relative keys, if you will. And that's some of the theory about it. Like D and A work really, really well together. Versus having to do a half-step transition, which is really awkward. I mean, there are ways to do it really, really well, and I can show you an amazing video on this guy who did it for Chris Tomlin. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Drum solo is working well.
Totally. Stopping and starting again is the way to do it. But, like going from F sharp transitioning to F is rough. Like, it's like everybody in the room just went, because we all feel it. You know, you're best to just like fade the pad down, wait 4 seconds, play F, fade back in. It's a way different thing versus going F sharp really quickly to F. Does that make sense? So we are trying to structure some of that so that it does sound good and that the keys relate well to one another. But primarily, I would say the decisions that we make in terms of key are really based off of the worship leader's voice, because how we listen to music, especially in worship, and how things happen, that is the most important sound. You know.
Well, the reason why I ask is because I want to be able to cooperate with you in a way that really supports you, rather than wondering, is he just trying to stretch me so I can play in every single key at the top of that?
No, it's definitely not that. It's literally because I'm trying to put my best foot forward as a worship leader, and to enable everybody else to sing. And now, for me, for worship leaders in here, this is a really, really great thought, and this is a really humbling thought. Darlene Check, I was listening to a talk, I think like 4 years ago, and she was like, yeah, I pray about what key I should sing in. I was like, what? What are you talking about? She's like, yeah, she was like, I pray because I know that people are going to be in the room, and I'm going to have so much dexterity with my voice that I can sing in all of this number of keys, so that the majority of the people in that room, because the Lord already knows who's going to be in that room, it's going to actually become the most comfortable key for people to engage with. I was like, oh, you are selfless. You're a humble leader who does not care about themselves. This is so good. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't want to sing because it doesn't feel good in my range. No, like, let's get away from that. You know what I mean? Like, there's some truth. There is some truth to that. But like, for voices, you got to grow on your instrument. It's just a muscle. Figure out how to like strengthen it. You know, you will grow your range. It is proven. There is a scientific limit. You know, at times, but do the best you can. You know what I mean? So for you, as a leader, I'm not trying to stretch you. Not at all. Never. I'm not thinking in my head like, man, the band really needs to learn how to play an A flat.
If you're feeling stretched, then maybe you should practice more.
No.
Oh, no.
All right.
But
Just to let you know, Phil has the best intentions for you, and you have the best intentions for Phil.
so this week, Vern and I've been playing through my hymnal, like just for practice of my my sight reading. And what's really interesting, if you look at like just about any single church hymnal, is that first song will be in G, and then you go to the next one, A flat. The next one is E. The next one is E. All of these weird.
Yeah.
Seems like there's no rhyme or reason, and but there's the common thread is that it's always so that the top note in the melody, which is always in the soprano, almost never goes above a D, and that's just how it's just they put it in whatever key it is so that the top note doesn't go above a D, so that everyone could sing.
Can access it, because it's got to be like corporate and communal.
And also, you know, I could probably come off as trying to be sarcastic in my question, and I really
No,
wasn't
that's okay.
trying to be. But at the same time, I really wanted to understand why.
Totally. Well, I appreciate the question. I think that's really important.
Most people know me. I like to have fun. I like to laugh.
Totally.
And so I said it in a kind of funny way, but
Totally.
you know that I wasn't trying to be
No.
sarcastic
No.
but Phil doesn't know that.
No, I wasn't. I
And
didn't
I
think you were
wasn't
trying to
aware.
be sarcastic.
I just
No,
wanna
you're
make
good.
sure that people know I'm not trying to.
I don't think you know me well either. So it's just all
So I'm just trying to make sure that
Don't
people
clap.
know that I'm not trying to be sarcastic.
Cool.
In
No, you're
an
good.
evil way.
No, you're good, Vern. No worries. I think it's a great teaching moment to ask that question. Just for me personally, I do try to pick out songs that fit my voice well, but also fit the congregation's voice really, really well. I mean, I remember when I made that conscious decision, people started coming up to me after I would lead worship and be like, I actually can sing with you. I like when you lead. I was like, oh, cool. That's great. Awesome. Like, we can all engage in this. That's why I'm here. Not that you would even hear me. You know, I'm trying to help you sing with the Lord. And so, yeah, it's great. Okay. Is that a good lesson? I mean, have you guys ever heard that before? About, like, picking keys and stuff? Okay, cool. Great. Sweet. I don't want to keep you guys much longer. I know we went kind of long. So, any other questions? We good?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Good. Real quick, sorry.
No,
No, it did. Went hard.
Yeah.
I choose you.
Real quick, I think it would be really nice to have a little bit of feedback as far as specific improvement for the
Okay.
musicians.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for me, like my world right
Yeah.
now isn't like music and the latest
Yeah.
worship or
Yeah.
all that stuff. It used to be, but it's not.
Yeah, totally.
So like for me, it's like, I might be rusty in an area,
Yeah.
but I may not realize it.
Totally.
So it'd be like, hey,
Mhm.
this is, I would suggest,
Mhm.
picking this up a little bit, maybe
Yeah.
improving that, because I think giving musicians
Totally.
like specific goals,
That's good.
um,
Yeah, we're all at different places.
yeah, gives
So-
you something to kind of to shoot for and
Cool.
kind of measure as well.
Does everybody feel the same way?
Yes.
Awesome. That's really great. So, for instance, Dave, like for you the other day, I texted the group and I was like, "Yo, we're gonna do this version of this song, right?" And I was like, "That upper room version of the bass tone is sick."
Yep.
That was me doing that.
Yep.
Going like, "Hey, like listen to this. Yeah, I want to hear that from you." So, but like, I would love to give you that more upfront feedback if you're really wanting that.
Yeah.
Like, no problem. So, cool, man. That's great. Thanks for being open to hearing that, guys. Appreciate it. Sometimes it's weird as a leader. You're like, I don't know. Do they want to hear that? So,
I'd rather hear something than nothing because
all right, Ann.
I sit there and think.
Okay. You're terrible.
Well, like
I'm just kidding.
Like 2 weeks ago, when I said something's wrong,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was like 4 weeks ago maybe.
Mhm.
And then you finally told me I've been playing the guitar wrong for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Totally.
Why did you wait that long?
Because they're for me as a leader, that wasn't important at that time
Okay.
to tell you about that because there were other things that I wanted you to focus on. Yeah, because I just wanted you to get better at that certain area. Like there are other things to get better, and I felt like when I told you about guitar, I was like, okay, she's ready to hear this now. Like this is good. So some of that, yeah, that is on me in terms of timing. You know, what I mean, I do that sometimes with people depending on. I do that with you guys because I don't want to overwhelm you. Like, listen, I could take it to town like critically. I could go for it. Like if you want to do that, but I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna destroy you. If you want that, I mean, like the honest feedback. I'm not here to destroy you. I'll give you honest feedback of where you're good, where you can work at. Like if all of you want that, totally. I would love to do that for you, and I will gladly provide any wisdom or practical ways that I think you could grow in that area. You know what I mean? So, but I think again, let's go back to this. Culturally, we've been trying to build the ability to have that conversation. More so than just the stuff that's in the conversation, it's like, can we even approach one another like that? Do you know what I mean? Because that's really tough. So some of that's still been building for us, you know what I mean? We're learning to trust one another, where it's like, okay, you guys are learning that like, hey, like you can kind of call me out, and I'm gonna be okay. You know what I mean? But if you don't know that about me, if you haven't spent that time, if I haven't communicated that, you're not gonna go for it, you know? Please don't just like do that openly in front of the entire church. That would be great. That'd be super good. But no, like just like let's have the conversation. I do want to be the leader who's humble enough to take anything that you would come to say. You know what I mean? And not that I would just roll over. I'm not gonna do that. You know me. Like I'm not gonna do that. We'll have a conversation about it and let's figure it out. But I want you to know that I'm here to help, and I want to hear anything that you have to say, especially if it's regarding my leadership. Like if you got a question about anything that I'm doing if you think it's sketchy, tell me. Seriously, I got to be above it. Like I have no business being here if I'm doing something sketchy. Okay, before it comes off that way, I don't want to do that. Okay, so again, culturally, like we got to have the ability. We got to number one, just have the understanding. Have the understanding. I have the best intention for you. You have the best intention for me. Okay, cool. I think that from taking away from this night, like that's the most important thing, regardless of some of the other things we talked about that are really practical. Cool. Great. So do you have a question?
Okay.
You good?
We can probably talk about it.
Okay.
Out of the stuff.
Cool. No worries. Sweet. Awesome. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for coming. Invite friends and family next time. Come on out. Seriously, anybody who wants to come to this can. Who maybe even isn't necessarily a part of the worship community that wants to, they can feel free to come. I want this to be a resource to anybody. If you know churches that are like maybe smaller and need help in these areas, I'd love to be able to give it to them and to resource parts of the church, because I want the church everywhere to grow. Okay, cool, sweet. Duh. And I promise we are actually gonna have other people teach these, not just me, because I don't want to do everything.
Here's some honest feedback. You're not ready.
Okay, so my question is,